You notice this room doesn't have windows. This is a true geek paradise.
Yeah.
All right. I feel like I'm in a basement. I'm right at home.
So your first step, if you're going to mail us your drive, is to go to the website and do our mail-in form. Just submit the mail-in form. And that just comes to us electronically. After submitting the mail-in form, you'll see our packing and shipping instructions. The most important thing to do at this time is to make sure that you use a lot of bubble wrap when you pack your drive.
Any concern about electrostatic discharge and the handling of the drive or the packing of the drive?
No, not really. We've never had any problem with that. If you have a anti-static bag, definitely put it in there. But bubble wrap seems to have the same kind of properties.
Go put it in a Ziploc bag?
Ziploc bag's fine,
cool.
But it's not really required.
Okay.
If you want to be as safe as possible, you can even use the original box and everything that your drive came in.
So,
but we just recommend at least 2 to 3 inches of bubble wrap on all sides. Never use styrofoam peanuts, and always ship in a box. Some people send us a drive in an envelope.
And then
that's it.
Damaged even worse.
Yes, yes.
Wow, I can't believe if it's that important. You.
It's crazy, yeah.
It never occurs to the customer they need another drive to put the data on.
Right, of course.
So do they provide that to you, or do you provide that to them at an additional fee, or is that included, or how does that work?
They can do either. They can either supply us with their own transfer drive. There's a couple requirements that it has to meet in order for us to be able to use it. For example, it has to be the same size or bigger than the bad hard drive to make sure we have enough room to move the data to. It can't be a NAS drive because moving over the network slows our process down too much. Couple things like that. And then they also have the option to buy one from us if they want. If the recovery is successful, they'll buy one from us. They could choose to just buy the smallest one that will fit all their data, or they can have any drive from 500 gigs up to 5 terabytes.
Okay, so I've got a bad drive.
Yep.
I filled in the form. I've boxed it up.
Yep.
You get it.
Yep.
For some reason, whatever, you can't recover this drive.
Okay.
Is the drive unrecoverable?
In certain cases, drives are unrecoverable by anyone. We estimate it's about 10 to 15% of all drives we get and are unrecoverable by anyone. So if you ever hear a data recovery company say that their success rate is 99%, it's just the biggest lie that there is.
It's never 99%.
It's impossible because a lot of drives have platter damage. They were dropped, the heads fell on the platters, scratched the platters. And in a lot of cases, you can't recover from a scratched platter, especially if the scratch is in the firmware area of the hard drive. That may contain unique...
That's a game over situation.
It could be, yeah, definitely could be.
So let's say I send you the drive, it's not recoverable. What's my cost for you to make that determination?
If we couldn't recover any of your data, then there's absolutely no charge. If you're a mail-in, shipping back is the only charge.
When I send you the drive, am I prepaying anything at that point for the service you're going to do?
There's no prepayment except for deleted file and format recoveries. So for deleted and format recoveries, we charge up front. And the reason we do this is because we already know we're going to follow our same process of cloning the drive, scanning the drive, recovering all the data, but we can't know for sure if we're going to get back your deleted file. But we feel like we've already done all the work and we've recovered everything possible from the drive. So you're getting back everything that can be recovered, and that's why our rate is due up front in those cases. If we recover, say it's not a format or deleted files recovery, it's just a normal drive, it was dropped, it's clicking, or for some reason it doesn't mount. And if we recover 99.9 to 100% of the sectors on the drive, then our fee is due. But if we recover less than that, then we give our customers the option, you can either pay our full rate for the data we were able to recover, or a $100 labor fee if you don't want the data we could recover. Because a lot of times, it may be days or weeks of trying to recover as much as we can.
You don't even know what you're going to get back.
We don't know, and let's say it's 98% of the data, but coincidentally not the one file the customer needs. We've still worked for so long we're getting $100.
But that's fair. I think
Yeah.
that's very fair.
I think so, yeah.
You keep the customer in the loop the entire way. There's not this mystery like a week goes by, well, I don't know, but where there's an extended period of time where I have to call and go, what's the status of my drive? Like you guys will say, for example, we received your drive. You'll get an email.
Yep. As soon as it comes in the mail,
So what
we
are the
get an
alerts
email.
that the customer gets?
yeah, so the drive arrives, we're sending an email going over our terms and conditions, confirming the total costs, and getting our customers' agreement that they want to pay that cost.
That wasn't done beforehand, before the drive was shipped in?
Well, in some cases it wasn't, but either way, we're just making it clear so they know exactly how much it'll cost.
Okay.
We have a rate calculator on our website, so we always encourage customers to use that first. They can determine the cost that it will take to recover. We want no surprises. We have no hidden fees. We try to be as transparent as possible.
Okay, so that's the first email that goes out.
Yeah.
What's the next?
All right, so they'll respond and say that they approve our terms. Then we'll move the drive into what we call on deck. That's kind of like the diagnostic phase. So after we're done diagnosing on the PC3000 and we've got the drive up and running again so that it's able to be cloned, then we send them email saying that your drive is now in progress, and basically we've started and it's looking hopeful.
Okay.
Almost the majority of drives that get in progress are going to be successful in the end. Now, if we took it to the PC3000, it turns out we can't recover the data for whatever reason, our customer will get an email detailing what we've determined the problem to be. And in certain cases, there's drives that it's not feasible for us to recover because the donor parts are too expensive. So like any modern 3 terabyte Seagate drive, the DM series especially, these drives have notoriously bad heads. There's actually a recall and a lawsuit against Seagate for these drives. Just trying to find compatible donor heads can be like more than $1,000. Just to find a compatible donor model hard drive could be $300.
So it's supply and demand.
Yeah, it's supply and demand.
So that also affects, I imagine, drives that are really old, and it may be very difficult to find if it was a smaller manufacturer.
It's actually the newer ones that are usually the most expensive because there's less donors around. Any 10-year-old drive you can usually find on eBay, unless it's really rare.
You can't just go buy another new 3 terabyte Seagate drive because it's been, whatever the issue was, they resolved it.
Or you could buy it, but the specs that you have to match when finding compatible heads
It's a lot of research
to move. Yeah, it's a lot of research, and even if you match the labels on the hard drives to be identical except for the serial number. So let's say they were even made on the same exact date in the same factory, and everything's the same, the heads that the drives use could be different. So they could have a different
same
pattern.
Factory on the same day.
Different same factory, same day. It could be different heads. So that's why,
Wow.
and we don't do these head swaps because of this, but we've looked into it and we've tried to before to see if it was worth it. And it's just too many variables as far as trying to just match the donors. And then a lot of times you find a match and then there's platter damage and you can't recover it anyhow.
That might explain the prices what some of these other companies charge.
It does. So that's why sometimes a $1,500 quote isn't unreasonable, right? But the problem is they charge $1,500 for those 10-year-old drives that you can get donors for $20.
It's higher profit for them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I send you the drive. You can't fix it. I have the option then of saying just destroy it, get rid of it for me, or
yeah, you have 3 options at that point. If we can't recover it, we can either send it back to you, we can recycle it for you. And in certain cases, when we recycle the drive, we may offer between $10 and $20 for the drive. If it has like a rare PCB that we may want to keep as a donor. Yeah. And then the third option is we can offer to send it to another data recovery company that we work with who does the more expensive head swaps that we can't do because of our rate.
if they say, look, send the drive back. I'll send it to somewhere else myself. They can do that.
Yeah.
Or they can come to you for advice as far as to escalate it to the next level.
Yes, to go with a company that we recommend, just because there's a lot of shady data recovery companies out there.
Is there?
Oh yeah.
Now let's look at the 85% of the case where somebody sends you the drive and you can recover it. So they've got the email, you receive the drive, they've got the email, it's in process or in progress. What's the next email?
All right, so that in progress email is once we started the cloning. So the next email will be after the cloning stage is finished. We'll let them know exactly what percentage of sectors we were able to recover.
Does that mean anything to the customer?
Yeah, we kind of explain it.
Okay.
So, so that they know a sector is kind of like the hard drive is made up of sectors. And so if we recovered 100% of the sectors, we recovered all the data on the hard drive.
Right.
It's hard sometimes to explain the difference between a sector and a file. Well, not yet, not yet.
Okay.
So now we're just sending an email saying we were able to basically image 100% or 99.9% or 75%. Let's say the drive had 4 heads, but one of the heads was bad. So we disabled that on the PC3000, and so that we're still able to recover 75%. And then we say, do you want 75% for 300, or do you want to cancel and pay our $100 labor fee?
Isn't the data spread equally among the platters?
If a head is bad, let's say your drive has 4 heads, and it has 1 bad head, it's like ripping the 4th page.
Every 4th page.
Every 4th page out of the book. And your sentences are files. So there are sentences that will run over to that ripped out page. Those sentences will be bad, but the majority of them, especially if they're small sentences, will be recovered. Small files like pictures, music, it's less likely to be spanned onto multiple platters. And if it's a large file like a PST file that's 15 gigs, then it's definitely on that bad platter, and that file probably won't work.
Now the customer has an email at that point with a list of files.
No, not yet. So let's say we just sent them the best case scenario, which is we have great news. We just recovered 100% of the sectors on your drive. Now we're going to scan our clone using data recovery software and see what files we can recover. In almost all cases, if we recover 100% of the sectors, we'll get back 100% of the files. But a lot of times we'll do a couple different scans using different software, and then get them back the most amount of data. Then we'll create a file listing after we move that data to their transfer drive. So they're getting a listing of exactly what's on the drive they're going to get back.
So you've already done the work.
Yeah, all the work's been done at this point, yes.
So is the customer then committed to pay at that point?
If we've recovered 100%, they're committed to pay.
Okay, well there'd be no reason for them not to if it's 100%.
Exactly, in theory, although it happens.
Of course.
And if it was less than 99%, they're going to decide if the files that they see are worth our cost or not. In some cases, we can't differentiate between good and bad files on a file listing because for whatever reason it's impossible for us to know. That's more rare. More commonly what we'll do is we'll be able to separate the bad files or the possibly bad files from the good files and put all those bad files in a separate folder so the customer knows these files contain bad sectors.
So you might pull up half a picture.
Exactly. So, well, like JPEGs, they're very compressed. So if a JPEG has just one bad sector, half the image could be gone. If you have a movie, like let's say a DVD rip, and it has 20 bad sectors, it could still play flawlessly and you'd never even know.
Wow.
So it depends on how compressed the file is, what kind of data. Yeah, exactly.
Same with like a Word document, you get 75% of the document theoretically. Maybe.
No, I don't think it works like that on Word documents. At least I've never seen it.
Text file?
Text file for sure, yeah,
Okay.
because text file, what you see on the text file is what's actually on the sectors.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. After that,
Yeah.
they've agreed. So they're going to pay. Then they get an email saying, "Okay, your drive's been shipped back out to you."
That's right. Yeah. Well, so they'll get the file listing. They'll either approve it or deny it. Based on that, we'll send them a PayPal money request. They'll pay that,
Do
or
they have to pay by PayPal?
no, they can also pay by credit card over the phone, or they can pay using Bitcoin.
Can they send you a check?
We don't accept checks anymore.
Money order?
Um,
Cashier's check?
we don't like to. Yeah, we definitely like cash, but
All right.
not through the mail.
So credit cards. You mentioned Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, yeah, we accept Bitcoin.
You get a lot of that.
We don't get many Bitcoin
It's cool that you
purchasers.
take it, though.
I think it's really cool. It's a neat currency, and it's fun to be able to offer it and give it to people if they want that as an option.
So, so they get the drive. So they're going to get an email. The drive went out after they make their payment.
Yeah. Then
So
yeah.
when we get to payment, you mentioned 300, 400, 500.
Right.
When does somebody pay 300, and when do they pay the other amounts?
Okay, right. And just remember, all of our customers know the total cost before we start anything. So if they ever determine, before we started, like if they thought it was going to be 300 and it turned out to be 500, then they can decline their recovery. There's no cost or anything.
Does that happen?
It's rare,
Okay.
especially now. We always try to get our customers to confirm the cost using our rate calculator online before they do anything.
You're saying rate calculator.
Rate calculator.
Not raid calculator.
Correct.
Because
although you
could
can calculate
the rate of your raid.
You could, yes.
Okay.
So all of our prices are predetermined, fixed based on the model hard drive you have,
Okay.
and if your drive has encryption.
But just basically, forgetting all the encryption stuff, not to get too complicated.
Yeah.
When is it a $300 repair? When is it a $400? When is it a $500 or $600?
So 300 is our base rate. If your drive is 2 terabytes or smaller, it will probably be 300. If you have a drive that's larger than 2 terabytes, then we have a $100 fee for that.
Does it matter if it's a 2.5 inch or a 3.5 inch drive?
Does not matter.
Does it matter if it's a mechanical drive versus a solid state drive?
No.
Does it matter if it's a flash drive versus a hard drive?
No.
Does it matter if it's a memory card versus that's all I got.
A floppy disk? No,
Floppy
it doesn't
disk.
doesn't matter.
Good one.
Doesn't matter.
All right.
Yeah.
Can you do floppy disk recovery?
We can, but there's not too much you can do. So there's a $100 fee if your drive's over 2 terabytes.
Okay.
There's a $100 fee if your drive is encrypted. That means if you installed BitLocker or TrueCrypt or SafeBoot, or if you have a Western Digital drive with smartware. Now that's a lot of confusion in our rate comes from Western Digital smartware drives.
How would you know if you had a drive with
smartware?
With smartware, you know if you had a Western Digital drive, but smartware?
Well, all drives with smartware, when they're mounted, it says in the folder structure, smartware utilities or something like that. It mentions it somewhere in the drive when it's brand new.
Something you physically see on the drive?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, sometimes there's that little smartware thing in your system tray, like this one.
I've never used it.
You never seen that?
Whenever
Okay.
I buy a drive and it comes with it, I erase all that stuff.
You can't erase smartware.
Oh, you can't erase it.
Well,
So
you
I've never
could erase the
encountered it.
software,
Right.
okay? But smartware, this is what a lot of people don't understand. Western Digital encrypts their drives out of the factory, any drive with smartware, and that's almost all external Western Digital drives that aren't the element line.
So the element line are the 2.5 inch drives.
No, there's 3.5-inch elements too. They're just the cheapest of all of them.
Okay.
Not quality-wise, price-wise.
The least expensive.
Yeah, and they're the ones that we would recommend because they don't have this encryption.
What about Seagate's equivalent?
Seagate doesn't. No other company has encrypted drives like this.
Do you find one manufacturer is more reliable than another?
Well, there's certain models that are less reliable, and like the BackBlaze data, the drive test. Yeah,
do you agree with their findings?
You can't. How can you disagree with it?
Because my personal experience is exactly the opposite.
Well, I agree with them.
But I'm not using as many drives.
Yeah.
I'm using more than the average consumer.
Yeah.
But I'm not using 10,000 or 40,000 or whatever it is.
Right. I definitely agree with them.
I'll have
But-
a link to that in the video notes, by the way. Every
Yeah,
year.
it's a good one. It's a good read. The bigger the drive, the more likely it is to fail. Especially
Is
on
that
those
true?
Yeah, especially on those 2.5-inch ones. And these bigger ones, they're just making the platters more dense.
Are you saying that a 500 gig drive statistically will last longer than a 1 terabyte drive?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because there's less sectors that can
To
go
me,
bad.
But there's more data to be lost, but I don't understand how that makes it more likely to go bad.
Well, the difference between 500 and 1 terabyte may not be that important
2
because
terabyte.
it could be the exact same drive with more heads in it.
Right.
You see what I'm
Or
saying?
more platters.
Yeah, but they could be the exact same platters. But what happens is when drives get to be 3 terabyte, 4 terabyte, 5 terabyte, and the more dense the data is stored on there, the smaller they're writing it in there, it's just the more likely it's going to go bad because there's less wiggle room for errors.
Do you have a rush service?
We do have a priority service. Usually the turnaround time on that is 1 to 2 days.
Versus what's the regular turn?
Versus around 4 to 6.
4 to 6 days.
Yep,
Plus the time for the mail if it's being mailed.
correct.
Okay.
Which is about 2 to 3 days because we use USPS priority mail. With the priority service, it's a $50 upfront fee. That gets you pushed into the front of the line in front of everyone else, so we started immediately.
Just like at the club.
That's right. It's a VIP service. And then if we're able to successfully recover your data, it's our normal fee plus an extra $150 fee. So if your drive was $300, it's $500 with priority. When I started doing data recovery, which was 7-8 years ago, and my customers only had the option of paying $1,500 to $2,500 for data recovery,
And waiting 2 weeks.
yeah, that's for the slowest
Minimum.
service. That's for the slowest possible service. I was saying to myself, if I can recover their drive, like, what do I want? What would be like fair for me? And I thought if I could make,
would be reasonable?
if I can make $300 a day, I'm set for life. And that's why I came to 300.
I think you're doing a little more than that.
A little bit now.
I hope so. Of course, if there's any questions people have, they can reach out to you through your website.
Yeah,
Or
and
the
that's
phone.
$300datarecovery.com, or you can email me directly, brian@300datarecovery.com. We also have live chat on our website, which either me or one of our customer service reps will handle anytime during business hours. And you can give us a call at 323-230-0622.